So, last time I talked about my least favorite episode of SpongeBob, and if you haven't seen that review, you should watch it before this one. The reason is, this episode is kind of like that one. With that being said, this is a King of the Hill episode. No, I'm not going to try and pronounce it. So this episode's name is apparently French, and translates to, This is not a King of the Hill. I actually like this episode, which is surprising because it's a Peggy episode. And what's more surprising is that this is a Season 8 episode. And an art episode. This episode begins with Hank's boss Buck Strickland waking Hank up to tell him that they got a new storage yard and they need to buy some art. So Hank goes to buy some art with his son and they come across a few modern art stores. Needless to say, they don't find anything.
I'm calling it Industrial Penis number 5.
Bobby, car.
So Hank tells his friends that he couldn't find anything and Dale shows up wearing a night suit. This is the B-plot and he goes around being a nuisance to people. Hank goes inside the house and Peggy makes a comment about how she could do it and Hank likes the idea.
It can't be very hard. I mean, even the people who do it for a living don't seem very good at it.
So you might think I would hate Hank's opinion about artists, but I actually don't, because we see the somewhat anti-American art that he found and the, I'm going to say, indecent sculpture, and we know Hank's personality. We know how much that anti-establishment art pieces would bug him, and while I'm for freedom of expression, I also understand where Hank's coming from. So Peggy agrees and she makes her sculpture. Now, the sculpture is easy on the eyes and looks amateurish, but because Peggy specializes in being a Spanish teacher and not an artist, it makes sense. So the zoning board comes by and judges Peggy's sculpture. I hate these guys because they're all pretentious, and I hate pretension. So someone sees Peggy's probot and tracks it down. This guy's an art dealer and he wants to sell her sculptures. Peggy agrees instantly and starts creating more probots. So the art dealer sets up an art show and Peggy invites the board's leader to the show. At the art show, we learn that the dealer has falsified her story to make her seem like an idiot.
Her mind lacks the fine tools of the academy. Since that day, she came down from the mountains and became the child bride of a simple laborer. She is angry. She is practically illiterate.
So the Hills go home and Peggy sulks. She also gets told to remove the original probot and Hank leaves to confront the dealer. When Hank returns, we see Peggy throwing away her designs and Hank brought home the first probot. Peggy wants to destroy it and Hank takes her to Strickland.
All right, you're making another one. Hey, honey, they're building another probot.
You like it?
Yeah, every time I drove by it, it made me feel optimistic.
So when I first looked at this episode critically, I thought before we got to the main plot I would hate that episode, and I was pleasantly surprised. What made this episode good, unlike the googly artiste, is the critics of Peggy's artwork and the dealer are portrayed as, well, antagonists. Because of this, Peggy is in a much better light as someone trying to make something people can enjoy, and what's more is how great Hank is in the episode. I mean, Hank is portrayed wonderfully. Since he isn't an art person, he doesn't care that Peggy's probots aren't professionally done and instead appreciates them for what they are, well-made pieces of art. And his constant encouragement of Peggy made me really want to see more. Peggy also finding an audience for her art at the end of the episode is also nice to see. Creating anything is hard work and trying to find an audience that supports you is even harder. Episodes like this make me want to persevere and continue making content because there is an audience out there for everyone. But if you don't put in the effort, you won't find it. Peggy's art isn't perfect, but that's kind of what makes it perfect. This episode gets a 7 out of 10. Hey guys, just a quick reminder, if you want to support this channel, the best way is to subscribe and like the video. Also, if you want to see me review something, leave your suggestions in the comments below. And if you want to see each episode early, I have a Patreon and it's only $1 a month to get everything early. Thanks for watching.